How to Die by Saint Fred Sassoon. Dark clouds are smothering into red, while down the craters morning burns. The dying soldier shifts his head to watch the glory that returns. He lifts his finger towards the skies, where holy brightness breaks in flames, radiance reflected in his eyes, and on his lip a whispered name. You'd think to hear some people talk, the lads go west with sobs and curses, and sullen faces white as chalk, honking and withers the entombed horses, but they'd been taught the way to do it, like Christian soldiers, not with haste, and shredding groans, but passed through with due regards for decent taste.
How to Die. In line 1, dark clouds are smothering into red. The author uses smothering because it's associated with heat, and sun rising, and how the clouds change from gray color to red. This also could signify of something coming back, like a memory. In line 2, the author changes places from the sky to the ground. He does this by saying, while down. This implies that he is talking about the ground and the soldiers on it. This line signifies that by the sun rising, both sky and ground are affected and is changed. This creates which are made by the shell burns and from the sunshine as it rises. Take out last 10 seconds. The craters which are made by the shelling, they are also being touched by the sunlight, which means even in the darkest places, the author thinks you could still have hope. Now the author introduces to a dying soldier who's shifting his head. And line 3 and 4, the author describes that the soldier watches the glory that returns. By glory, it could mean the sun itself, or in a deeper meaning, a memory or someone that was close to him. He may see them because he's close to his own death, or just like a memory of them. In line 3, the author talks about where the holy brightness breaks in flame. He's talking about when the sun is rising and the clouds turning red, like in the first line, but this gives us a more detailed description. It's like it creates an image in our mind, which is why it's also imagery. In the next line, radiance reflects in his eyes, which is also again detailed description about how the soldier sees the sun or the person he has lost. It also shows us how the soldier sees the person in his eyes and how much the person meant to him or her. This soldier could be either from his personal experience or someone he knew or he heard about. In the second stanza, line 1 or line 9 from the beginning, you'd think to hear some people talk. By people, the author or poet refers to the soldiers, and by talking they mean discussing and talking about their past and their lives before. And the next line, line 10, the lads go west and sobs and curses. The lads are the soldiers again here, and they are sobbing and cursing because they're missing their family, they're wounded, they're seeing their friends get hurt. It is too much pressure for them, and they're not handling it very well. Now, the poet has seen this firsthand, so he can talk about this in detail, and he's chose to put in words like sobs and curses because this is really descriptive and creates an image in our minds. Soldiers walking and they're tired. They want to rest, but they can't because either the enemy is after them or they have to go after the enemy. Line 11. The sunken faces while white as chalk. This white as chalk is like is a metaphor because the author uses white as chalk. By using white as chalk instead of just saying their faces was covered in dust or something which was white, the author chose to use a metaphor. This gives it some more descriptive and more detailed and deep meaning to this poem. He used the word sulken because he wanted to show that he wanted to convey the expression on the soldiers' faces. They were not happy, they were tired. They wanted to go home, they didn't want to continue. But they had signed up for this, so they had to do this. And this could also mean the author was helpless. He also wanted to go home himself, but he could not do that since he had joined the army. Line 12 is hankering for wealth and tombs and hearses. This line is interesting because this line is talking about tombs and hearses. Hearses are cars which have coffins or space for coffin within them. The author is saying that the soldiers had a strong desire for them to be in the tombs inside those cars. This is an odd thing to say about soldiers, but this is what the author thought of the situation, and this is how he thought of conveying it. This could be how the author wants to show that the soldiers want their own tombs, but this case the author is trying to use irony because the soldiers don't want to die, but in fact by going to war they are pretty much telling themselves that they're gonna die. The next line is, but they're being taught the way to do it. This line implies the author wants to imply that they don't have a choice in what they're doing. They're being taught in a certain way to fight, and they will have to fight that way. They've been given an order, they have to complete it. They cannot say no. They don't have an option. That's what the author is trying to convey through this line. It's really important to the author that the reader or audience understands that the soldiers are not behind the war. They're the people in the higher ranks who want to murder people. The next line is like Christian soldiers, not with haste. This is about the author's, the poet's idea on religion and how it also affects the soldiers. But in this line, he's saying the soldiers, not with haste. And this implies that even though he thinks the soldiers are like saints, but they've still done bad things, and they still don't have their zest. The next line is and strutting and groans, but passing through it. This is also a very graphic. This also helps us imagine how the soldiers are. They're in pain. They're tired, but they're also passing through it. But this also could mean that they had no rest. They had no time to just sit down and take a nap. They're constantly on the move, either to fight the enemy or to run away from the enemy if they're being attacked. And the last one is with due regards to decent taste. This is interesting because the author put in the word decent. After the war, the soldiers don't have anything decent. They're being tortured every day until the war has ended. They've seen stuff that other people haven't. They torture themselves because they've killed so many people. And taste is something most soldiers have lost. And this is like irony. The author wants to put this is really important to the author, that the reader knows, the audience knows about how the war ended and how the soldiers have been left.